Hello. So we are in the university, in a place where usually learning takes place. And there are many such a formal institutions like universities and schools designed for learning, but we all know that learning happens not only in formal institutions, it happens outside as well. So the question is, what are the needs and possibilities to validate these learning outcomes which happens outside of the formal school system? And for the beginning, I would like to give you a short overview of the non-formal education understanding in Lithuania. I'm going to speak about structure, not about the content of non-formal education, but just structurally. There are formal education institutions like schools and universities, and everything outside it is called non-formal. So just literally, everything what is not formal is called non-formal. So it encompasses extracurricular activities in the schools which happen after the lessons. There are some special schools-like institutions which are designed for talent development. They are for music, art, and sports. There are lots of youth NGOs and organizations working with youth. They also provide non-formal education, as well as leisure time centers, youth clubs, and private organizations working with youth are also considered as non-formal education providers. That's important to understand the other things which I am going to talk about. To identify the needs of validation of these competencies gained outside of formal school system, we did a research. We implemented it last year and asked ourselves a question, how these institutions providing non-formal education are ready to take part in the process of validation of the competences. To answer this question, we surveyed most of Lithuanian NFE providers. We surveyed these providers in all the country, representing the whole population of Lithuania. And we also surveyed the officers in municipalities who are responsible for non-formal education, and the other ones who are responsible for youth affairs. They helped us to make the questionnaire and to set the research profile. First thing what we learned is that the perception of competence recognition is quite different. And under these words, people hear many things. Some people hear main thing in competence, and recognition for them means that also in non-formal education there are competencies developed. Others think that recognition should be political and just recognized in this way. Others see it more deep, thinking that recognition should be some formal process making these competencies visible and usable. We based our research and our thinking on validation, which encompasses identification of the competences, the documentation, making it visible for the learner, then assessment and certification, making it visible outside for the others, and thus making it useful for your career or further studies. So our object of our research was these institutions providing non-formal education, how they are ready to help their pupils to validate their competences. First, we identified that not all of these institutions which are working with school children know about opportunities to validate the competences. Many of them feel a lack of knowledge, and great majority of them would like to know more about it. So we found that it's important topic for them, and it finds an interest in them. So first stage is identification of the competencies. Identification which which competences and what competences are developed during this learning process. It's very important to discuss individually with every participant of non-formal education program about these competences which are developed, about personal development. Not all institutions discuss it individually. Some of them just don't do it and don't think it's needed. Then we asked what these institutions, what competences do you develop? It was an open question, and we just sorted the answers to two groups. The first group was the key competences, the general competences like social, communication, and others, and it was a great majority. But there's also special competences related to a certain subject, like a competence to swim, which are also developed in these non-formal education institutions. And then we asked, how do you think what competences could be recognized in formal school? And almost the same said that special competences could be recognized in the school. But just a little part of these people believe that general key competences can be recognized in formal school. So a big part of the competences, a majority of the competences which is developed in this non-formal education is not believed as possible to recognize in the school. Although the formal school is not only designed for special competences. In Lithuania, all the education is based on general competence development. So the formal schools are also ought to develop the general competences. The next part I'm going to talk about is documentation, how these organizations help for their participants to make visible what they are learning. I'm sharing just some insights from this research because it is quite big and there is not so much time to speak about it in depth. So I'm just giving some insights for you to think and to discuss about it. We asked, do you certify by any means, not only a paper certificate, but giving a badge or giving something material and visible, showing your learning progress. And so less than half certify all participants, and there is a part who certify only on demand. But there is also a quite significant part who doesn't think that certification is needed at all. They don't find it important. We also asked, do you mention the competences in these certificates? Do you mention these competences which you have discussed and identified as developed? And a big part of these organizations do not provide any certificate with the competences. There is also similar part which provides such a certificate, and quite many mention it only on demand. So they give certificate, not only paper as I told, but the competences are not mentioned there so often. And the third stage is assessment and certification, which according to the recommendation of European Union Council should be done by authorized by some kind of institution which is recognized and can certify that these competences are gained and could be used in career or further learning. And we asked these organizations what should assess and certify the competences you develop. There could be different answers, so you could choose more than one. But great majority have told that they should do it themselves, and the little part said that should be independent special institutions, which assess these competences and certify it for the outside use. And very few also see schools and universities as potential assessors of the competences. Also something that it's not needed at all. I remind that I'm talking about school pupils, about just a part of youth, the ones who are attending a school, because the other ones are adults actually, and they can use the adult systems for recognition of competences gained outside of formal education.
What's the age group?
The age group is 7 to 19. But in these schools, they are also taking part in non-formal education, and they are also gaining competences. And why should they wait until they become adults to make use of it? They could make use of it in school already. So we asked, do you keep in touch with the formal schools of your participants, of your pupils? Because if you want to be recognized, you need to be known for them. And so just 1/3 has a sustainable and close relations with all the schools. And majority told that they either have just with some schools these relations, or relations are fragmentary, which actually means that they don't have relations, they do not communicate with the schools. So the pupils are the same, but institutions are different, and they are not communicating a lot together. The next part of my presentation is about the possibilities to recognize these competences in the school. So that's it about the research. And from school perspective, there is a possibility to exempt students from lessons, the ones who are taking part in some kind of non-formal education activities. An example, the ones who take part in music non-formal education activities, they can be free during music lessons in the school. The same with sport. So there is such a possibility, and the school decides if they recognize these non-formal education activities as equal to the lessons and make pupils free or no, but they have such a possibility. Another possibility is to count these non-formal education activities as social service hours. In the teaching plan, which is like a base for schools, they are working based on it. There are mentioned social service hours, which every pupil must fulfill, and they can do it either in the school or somewhere else. It is not very strict regulated, but these activities happening outside of school can be recognized here, and so make free the ones who are taking part from doing something extra in the school. And I think the most important thing is the part of exam, which can be these non-formal education activities. So I'm going to talk more about it. There is a project for next year to start examining in this way, where after the finish of basic education, there are 3 exams: language, math, and social subjects. Integrated exam of social subjects, which consist in equal parts of test, ordinary test, and individual project. So this project should be done individually by every pupil, and it can be either a research project or social project or creative. I see most potential in social projects, which can be implemented outside of the school and then be presented for the commission during the evaluation, and make a half the grade the pupil is getting for this exam. So it's quite significant part. And the evaluation is planned self-evaluation and also a coordinator, as well as an assessment is going to be done in commission. So the one who is implementing a project is presenting it for the commission, and commission assess it. So this is the plan how it should be done in next year. All the project is prepared, and now it's waiting for deeper discussions and a political decision. That's it. Thank you very much.